أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد. All praises be to Allah. All praise and thanks be to Allah, Lord of the worlds. We praise Him. We seek His help. We seek His forgiveness. We believe in Him. We trust in Him. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our own selves and our own actions. Whoever Allah guides, none can misguide. Whoever Allah leaves astray, there's no guidance for him. I believe that none deserves to be worshipped except Allah. He's one without partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is his servant and his messenger. As to what comes after, as we were talking about fasting, know that there are a number of benefits in fasting. There are a number of benefits in fasting. For example, fasting helps to cleanse the intestines. It helps to rid the body of harmful fatty acids, thereby helping a person lose weight. Fasting also helps to clear up the complexion, to clear up the skin, by ridding the kidneys of toxins. And we say this to say that people fast for different reasons. We Muslims, we fast because fasting, above all, is an act of obedience to Allah. As Allah said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may learn taqwa, that you may learn piety, that you may learn to shield yourself from evil. Note that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "As-siyamu junnatun." min an-nar. That fasting is a shield from the hellfire, like the shield of one of you in battle. But just as a shield has to be held up in order to protect you, so too does fasting. Thus, it has been recommended that we fast on certain days voluntarily. For example, for those of us who are not going to perform the Hajj, it is recommended that we fast the day of Arafah. It is also recommended that we fast the day of Ashura. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fasting the day of Arafah expiates the sins of 2 years, the previous year and the forthcoming year. And fasting the day of Ashura expiates the sins of the previous year. Yawm al-Ashura is the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa alayhi salam and his people from Pharaoh. It is recommended that we fast 6 days in the month of Shawwal. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever fasts the month of Ramadan and then follows it up by fasting 6 days in the month of Shawwal, it is as if he fasted in the entire year. It is recommended that we fast on Mondays and Thursdays. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to fast regularly on Mondays and Thursdays, and when he was asked about it, he said, verily the deeds of each of you are brought before Allah every Monday and Thursday, and that Allah will forgive every Muslim, or he said every mu'min, except 2 who are shunning each other. He delays forgiving them until they reconcile their differences with one another. It is recommended that we fast the first 15 days or the first half of the month of Shaban. Aisha radiallahu anha said, I never saw the Prophet of Allah fast an entire month except for the month of Ramadan. And he did not fast more in any other month except for the month of Shaban. This brings us to the month of Ramadan. This is our 12th day. And fasting, the month of Ramadan, is obligatory on us. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Buniya al-Islamu ala khams. That Islam is built on 5, meaning 5 pillars. To testify that there is no deity except Allah, and that Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is his messenger. To establish the salah, to pay the zakat, to fast the month of Ramadan, and to perform the Hajj. Allah himself says, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi Qur'anu hudan lin-nasi wa bayyinatin min al-huda wal-furqan. That Ramadan is the month in which the Quran was sent down as a guide for mankind, with clear proofs of guidance, and the Furqan. The Furqan, the criteria for what is right and what is wrong. He then says, so whoever witnesses the month, فَلْيَصُمْ, let him fast it. Let him observe the fast. Note that Ramadan was the month in which the Quran was sent down. But not only was the Quran sent down to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the month of Ramadan, but the Suhuf was sent down to the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam during the month of Ramadan. And Allah had allowed Muslims to gain major victories during the month of Ramadan. It was during Ramadan that the Battle of Badr was fought and won. It was during the Ramadan that the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned to and conquered Mecca it was during Ramadan that Tariq ibn Ziyad and his army gained victory over Rodriguez, the king of Spain, thereby signaling the beginning of Muslim rule in Spain, i.e. Andalusia. Surely you've heard of the Rock of Gibraltar, which is that big mountain off the coast of Spain. That is named after Tariq ibn Ziyad. Note that big rock or mountain in Arabic is Jabal. And this is named after Tariq, Jabal Tariq, the Rock of Gibraltar. Allah is also very charitable, very charitable to Muslims during the month of Ramadan. His charity is manifested in the different avenues that he gives us to attain his mercy and forgiveness during the month of Ramadan. Note that the Prophet ﷺ said, Man sama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma tuqaddima min dhanbihi. Whoever fasts Ramadan with faith and seeking a reward, he will be forgiven for his previous sins. That's one. Man qama Ramadan imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma tuqaddima min dhanbihi. Whoever stands in Ramadan, meaning stands for prayer at night, with faith and seeking a reward, he will be forgiven for his previous sins. That's two. Man qama laylatul qadr imanan wa ihtisaban ghufira lahu ma tuqaddima min dhanbihi. Whoever stands on the night of power with faith and seeking a reward, he will be forgiven for his previous sins. That's three. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever feeds a fasting person who's breaking his fast, he will have his reward for his fasting without decreasing anything from the other fasting person. That's four. Those are just four avenues that Allah has given us to attain his mercy and forgiveness during this month of Ramadan. There are many more. There are many more. So take advantage of this blessed month of Ramadan. And do not let Ramadan come and go without securing some type of reward for yourselves. Know that one day, when the Prophet ﷺ was about to give the khutbah, and as he was going towards the minbar, and he reached the first step, he said, Ameen. As he ascended upon the second step, he said, Ameen. When he ascended upon the third step, he said, Ameen. After the khutbah was finished, and the Prophet descended from the minbar, the companions came around, and they said, Oh, Messenger of Allah, we heard you say something today that we have never heard you say before. He ﷺ said, that is because when I was about to ascend upon the first step, Jibreel came to me. And he said, woe to the person whose presence, in whose presence your name is mentioned, but he does not invoke blessings upon you. And I said, Ameen. When I was about to ascend upon the second step, Jibreel said, woe to the person whose parents, both of them, or one of them is still alive, but through failure to serve them, he is denied entry into paradise. So I said, Ameen. He said, when I was ascending upon the third step, he said, woe to the person who witnesses the month of Ramadan, but allows it to come to an end without securing forgiveness for himself. So I said, Ameen. So again, do not let the month of Ramadan come and go without securing some type of reward for yourselves. Another note that some of you who may struggle throughout the year, trying to find time to read the Quran, due to taking care of children, or going to school, or because of work. Do a good deed for yourselves this Ramadan. And find time and read it, because good deeds are magnified during the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ used to read the Quran more during Ramadan than any other month. And Jibreel ﷺ would come down and review it with him. And he ﷺ was very active, very active in prayer at night during the month of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ said that fasting in the Quran, reading the Quran, reciting the Quran at night will intercede for the servant of Allah on the day of resurrection. That fasting will say, my Lord, I prevented him from food, drink, and his other desires. And the Quran will say, I prevented him from sleep during the night. For shafa'na bihi. So allow us to intercede for him. Also know that giving charity is a big part of Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ said, as-sadaqatu, afdalu sadaqatu, the best type of charity, as-sadaqati fi Ramadan, is sadaqah, charity, giving in the month of Ramadan. And generosity is a trait, a characteristic that Allah likes Muslims to have. The Prophet ﷺ was very generous. Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ was most generous among people. He never said no when asked of anything. Yet, he was even more generous during the month of Ramadan. You know, many people think that fasting is simply about not eating and not drinking. But no, that word saum derives from the word sam, which literally, in classical Arabic, literally means to abstain or refrain from something. When used in accordance with Islamic law, it refers to abstaining or refraining from food, drink, sexual activities from dawn to dusk. However, it also refers to refraining from all types of evil acts. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever does not give up falsehood in their speech and action, Allah has no need that he has given up his food and drink. Meaning that Allah will not reward him for his food and drink, because his food and drink was simply about not eating and drinking. He did not refrain from cursing. He did not refrain from backbiting. He did not refrain from flirting. He did not refrain from lying. He did not refrain from smoking. He did not restrain himself. And fasting the month of Ramadan is about learning self-restraint. The Prophet ﷺ also said, when one of you are fasting, let him not act immorally, وَلَا يَجْهَلْ, nor act ignorantly. And if someone should fight them, argue with them, abuse you, then he should say, Inni sa'imun, that I am fasting, that I am fasting, that I am fasting. This should be said to yourselves to remind yourselves to restrain yourselves so that you do not get pulled into or sucked into someone else's ignorance and thereby act ignorant yourself. You see, if your fasting does not prevent you from all types of shameful and evil acts, then it is not looked at by Allah with acceptance. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsan ila yawmi din. All praises be to Allah. All praise and thanks be to Allah, Lord of the Alameen. And peace and blessings be upon our leader and our Prophet Muhammad, and on his family and on his companions, and whoever follows them with benevolence until the day of resurrection. As we continue, we were talking about fasting, and we mentioned at the very beginning that there are a number of benefits in fasting. A number of benefits. However, if fasting, particularly fasting the month of Ramadan, if it's not properly understood, it can affect your health negatively. For example, it is common knowledge that consuming huge amounts of food in one sitting can make a person lethargic, sluggish, lazy. Yet, many Muslims consume huge amounts of food when breaking their fast. Some of them eat so much that they can barely stand for the fulah. Some of them eat so much that they can barely breathe. You literally see them with their stomachs tight, gasping for air, trying to breathe. And you have to leave room in the stomach so you can breathe. The Prophet ﷺ said that the human being does not fill up any container worse than his stomach. That is enough for him to have a few morsels to keep his back straight, meaning just to keep him strong. But if he must eat more, then let it be talufu li ta'amihi, talufu li sharabihi, talufu li nafasihi. Let it be 1/3 for his food, 1/3 for his drink, and 1/3 for his breath, so he can breathe. And know that if you are consuming huge amounts of food at one sitting, you will be prone to heartburn. And when those stomach acids elevate, and they will, you will be prone to GERD. This is an acid reflux disease that can burn the esophagus. Furthermore, if you have that habit of constantly overeating, and that habit continues throughout the night during the month of Ramadan, it will cause your triglyceride levels to elevate and your sugar levels to elevate, thereby increasing your chances of developing high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and worse, diabetes. So be mindful of how you are eating when you're breaking your fast. Understand that fasting the month of Ramadan is about change. It is about change. Ramadan gives us the time to look at ourselves, to explore our minds and hearts. Ramadan is the time for soul searching and soul taming. It is about trying to learn how to control the nafs, our baser self, our baser instincts. It is about learning how to be thankful and not be miserable, getting rid of bad habits and getting closer to Allah. So that when the month of Ramadan comes to an end, when the month is over, we will have a happy Eid. We will have a happy Eid, and we will not be of those people who get into moon fighting. Yes, moon fighting. Every year, when the month of Ramadan is about to come to an end, Muslims start to question who sighted the moon, confirming that it's Eid al-Fitr. And if it was sighted by someone they do not respect, or someone they do like, or a people or a country they have no respect for, they begin to fight. Thus the term moon fighting. May Allah forgive us and make us people who are better than that. May Allah guide us and make us people who are better than that. May Allah accept our fasting. May He accept our ibadah. May Allah have mercy on us. Forgive us and guide us. Protect us from the evil one. We ask Allah to give us and do not deprive us, to grace us and do not disgrace us, to help us and do not forsake us. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات أيام والأموات. اللهم اهدنا واهدنا ويسر الهدى علينا واجعلنا مفاتيح للخير ومغالق للشر. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا غفرته ولا هما الا فرجته ولا دينا الا قضيته ولا مريدا الا شفيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا ولكن إذا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين ولكن دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والمرسلات عرفا فالآسفات أسفا والناشرات نشرا فالفارقات فرقا فالملقيات ذكرا نذرا أو نذرا إنما توعدون لواقع فإذا النجوم طمست وإذا السماء فرجت وإذا الجبال نسفت وإذا الرسل أقتت لأي يوم أجلت ليوم الفصل وما أدراك ما يوم الفصل ويل يومئذ للمكذبين ألم نهلك الأولين ثم نطبقهم الآخرين كذلك نفعل بالمجرمين ويل يومئذ للمكذبين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers. There's three people in the Maher family, Maher Jamal's family, who are sick. Make dua for them, and